Hello, my little mathematicians. This is the second day of 13.3, solving for a missing dimension, or solving the area equation. Turn to page 10 in your packet of mod 1314, please. And this is the pieces of information they're going to give you, either in a word problem or in a drawing. They'll say you're dealing with a trapezoid, so go ahead and first of all, write the formula for area of a trapezoid. That's area equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. Now again, when you think you have something, go ahead and pause the video, try it on your own, and then unpause it and follow along to check yourself. Okay? If you're back with me, I wrote down the formula for an area of a trapezoid, and then I'm just going to plug in what I know. For A, for area, I'm going to plug in a 24. For the first base, I'll plug in a 5. The second base, I'll plug in a 3. And then the height, we don't know, so I'm going to keep that as an H. Put that all over 2. Okay, simplify what you know. The top part, 5 plus 3, is 8 times height divided by 2 equals 24. 8 divided by 2 is 4. H equals 24. And now you want to get H by itself. So the inverse of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. So you now have 1H equals, whatever you do to one side, do to the other. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So my answer is H equals 6. But remember, you always want units. It's talking about centimeters. Is it centimeters or centimeters squared? It should just be centimeters. If it's the height, centimeters. Base, either one, base 1 or base 2, centimeters. Perimeter, centimeters. But area is the only one that is centimeters squared. All right, let's go ahead and try example 2. It says this time you're dealing with the area of a triangle. Well, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. I know that I've been using this one in other examples, so I'm going to use area equals 1/2 base times height this time, just so that you guys are used to seeing something different in case it comes up. Well, for the area, instead of writing A, I'm going to plug in a 24 for the A, for area, equals 1/2. My base, I don't know, so I'll keep that a B. And my height is 4. Because of the commutative property, I can multiply out of order. So I can't do 1/2 times B, but I could do 1/2 times 4. And 1/2 times 4 is 2. Bring down your B, equals 24. Now to get B by itself, you do the inverse of multiplying by 2, which is to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so now you have 1B equals, whatever you do to one side, do to the other. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And since you're solving for the base, they're talking about inches, it's just inches. Again, if you feel that you're ready, pause the video, try the example on your own, and then unpause it and follow along to check yourself to see if you're right. My next example, number 3, is talking about a parallelogram. The formula for area of a parallelogram is base times height. So write your formula out first, and then plug in what you know. The area is 15. So replace the A with a 15. Equals, my base is 5. My height, I don't know, so keep that H. To get H by itself, I want to do the inverse of multiplying by 5, which is to divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so you have 1H equals, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and this one was talking about feet, so it's 3 feet for my height. Finally, the last example is also talking about a trapezoid. So let's write out the formula again for area of a trapezoid. It's base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. They told me the area, so I'm going to replace the A with 25. Bring down my equals. They didn't tell me the first base, but they told me the second base is 4 and that the height is 10. And then, of course, put that all over 2. Now, this one's a little bit trickier. I can't just reduce this 2 into this 4 because it has a plus sign with it. So there's two things that I can do. I could reduce the 2 into the 10 because when things are being multiplied from top to bottom, like then you can cross cancel them. So again, because this is grouped together and there's a plus sign, I cannot do the 2 into the 4. But I could have reduced this 10 and 2. But because that only works sometimes, I'm actually going to do this another way. If, for instance, you ever have a problem like this, you want to get rid of this denominator, you multiply by that denominator to get it to cancel. Okay, because if this were like 2 over 1 times this, these could cross cancel because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and this 2 divided by 2 is 1. And so now you just have this top part over 1. So again, if you multiply by whatever this bottom number is by itself up here, then all that's left is the top part. And then since I multiplied this side by 2 to get that to cancel, multiply the other side by 2. And 2 times 25 is 50. You only have to do this weird thing if for some reason they don't tell you one of the bases. And so you can't simplify this part just yet because you can't combine B and 4. Okay, but again, it's not that bad. If you have a number in the denominator, multiply it by itself to get it to cancel. All that's left is what was originally in your numerator, and then these cancel out, multiply that same thing on the other side. Now this doesn't look so scary. Okay. You can distribute that 10 to the B, which is 10B, plus 10 times 4 is 40, equals 50. That's one way I could have done this, because at this point in time, I could have separated this out. I could have solved this 2 different ways. Okay. So the first way is if you distribute this, 10 times B is 10B, 10 times 4 is 40. Now, to get B by itself, I want to get rid of this 40, so I'm going to subtract it so that those cancel. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So that's 10 equals 10B. And now these are being multiplied, so the inverse of multiplying is to divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. That 10 divided by 10 is also 1, 1B, so you just have 1 for B. This one's a little bit trickier because technically we haven't learned two-step equations yet, so you wouldn't have necessarily known to get rid of that 40 first. So when you get to this step, to get this by itself, this whole thing, just think of this as one single term for right now, is be multiplied by the 10. So to get rid of the 10, just divide by 10, those cancel. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. 50 divided by 10 is 5. Those canceled, you just have B plus 4. Now to get B by itself, the inverse of adding 4 is to subtract 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Those cancel, and you just have B. If this seemed really, really hard, it's okay. Typically, we're, I think like maybe one of the hardest problems would have one of the bases be unknown, but for the majority, they'll probably give you both of the bases, and you have to solve for either the height or the area. Okay, there would only be like one like this. Congratulations on getting a little bit further into understanding 13.3, solving area equations.